Absolutely. The headlines right here, Odenigbo 99.1 FM. This New Year's Day, welcome back. The conversation is still on right here on the station. And like we told you earlier on, we're going to be focusing on Nigeria's new tax laws. Are Nigerians ready? What you need to know. Nigeria's new tax laws. Are Nigerians ready? What you need to know. Well, today, January 1, 2026, Nigeria enters a new fiscal chapter with the commencement of the country's most sweeping tax reforms in decades. In June 2025, President Bola Tinubu signed into law four major tax reform legislations passed by the National Assembly. They include the Nigeria Tax Act, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act. Together, they are designed to overhaul how taxes are imposed, collected, administered, and enforced across the country. The federal government says the reforms aim to simplify tax compliance, expand the tax base, eliminate multiple and overlapping taxes, modernize revenue collection, and shift Nigeria away from overdependence on oil revenues. According to the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, led by Taiwo Yedele, the new laws are also intended to protect low-income earners, encourage voluntary compliance, and make Nigeria's tax system more predictable and growth-friendly. But as implementation begins today, one key question remains: are Nigerians truly ready? Beyond government assurance, the new laws have generated widespread debate, confusion, and concern. Many citizens and businesses are still struggling to understand what has changed, who is affected, and how enforcement will work in practice. Issues around tax identification numbers, the role of banks, the powers of tax authorities, and the balance between compliance and cohesion have dominated public conversations. There have also been deeper governance concerns. For example, allegations that certain provisions of the laws were altered after passage. Now, the laws are also coming into force against a difficult economic backdrop, rising cost of living, weak purchasing power, and a large informal economy where trust in government remains fragile. So, today on our discussion segment, our focus is not just on what the new tax laws say, it is on what they mean in practice. Do citizens and businesses understand the obligations and protections? Will the reforms truly broaden the tax net without overburdening the already stretched middle and lower classes? Are Nigerian institutions ready to implement them fairly and transparently? And most importantly, can trust be built in a system where tax compliance depends as much on credibility as it does on enforcement? My name is Njideka, Favor Gilbert, co-anchor is here. And of course, to help us shed more light on what is expected of citizens and authorities in the new tax laws, we have an expert on the matter, Mr. Muktar Mohammed. He is the CEO, Finance with Muktar. He's also an international finance and economic analyst. He joins us via the phone line. Good morning, Mr. Mohammed. Thank you for joining us, and of course, it's good to say Happy New Year to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We may need to pause a little bit while we rectify certain technical problem here. All right, Mr. Muktar, you may want to come again. You were saying something about our program being the first you're speaking on this New Year's Day. We lost some of the things you said.
Yeah, that's what I said. Your program is the first. I'm speaking today on the New Year's Day and on a very, very landmark day for me. And a landmark day for Nigeria. Also a landmark day for me because today I turned 50. And also a landmark day for Nigeria because today we have a new tax regime coming into. I like the way the people call it regime because it's really like a regime. It's not like, ordinarily, if the policy is friendly, you say the new tax policy. So when we are talking a new tax regime, it tells you that there's a lot of things in there that are not right.
So happy birthday to you. It's good for us to let you know that you share birthday with one of us here in the studio. So it is indeed a landmark moment for everybody, for you, for my colleague, and of course for Nigeria.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get down to it in terms of this new tax laws. You have been monitoring conversations over time, especially since the laws were signed or the bills were signed into law in June by the president. Having listened to conversations across board, what do you think is the most common things Nigerians are concerned about, are confused about when it comes to this new tax laws? What do you think they're not been able to grasp as far as the laws are concerned, the commonest of them?
I think the commonest of them is how implementation will affect their bank account. I think that for me is the most common that you're judging all around, because a lot of Nigerians are confused. Do you debit my account? Do you use narration if I'm paying you something? How will I be taxed? Is it that every money that comes into my account will be taxed immediately? I think it's all about those bank accounts, and that's why people like us have a challenge, because that means we have been shouting about financial inclusion. And if at this time you are not making people feel that their bank account will be taxed, just this morning we got a message that tells you that if you have a foreign bank account, I mean a dumb account, every interest that you gain on that dumb account you will pay 10% withholding tax. So there's a lot of things that ordinarily before are not a no-brainer, especially when you look at our environment and even globally, you don't see such things happen. So that's why I said when they say it's a tax regime, it's more or less looking like a tax regime. But I think most Nigerians are more concerned about their personal bank account. Oh, will you be debiting money from my account every month? Do I need a tax pin to get a bank account? But when you look at all these things, then they are not really true. The social media has been at war with some of these policies. But I put that place squarely on the door of the government, because they didn't create more enlightenment as regards this tax law.
All right.
Especially in area of clarity. And when you talk about tax law must be clear, and also must be clear, and the people should be able to trust for them to be able to pay taxes.
So what clarity can you bring into that confusion in terms of people's bank accounts and their relationship with tax ID? Who is supposed to get tax ID, and how do they go about it? What is the truth around that confusion?
You have to get your own tax ID. Nobody is supposed to generate a tax ID for you. You are supposed to go to your LRS, state inland revenue or federal inland revenue to generate your tax ID. Your personal income tax, if you are not a business, is normally going to be paid into your state government. Where you stay, that's where you pay your personal income tax. But if you are a business, you need to register with the FIRS, so that you can also be able to make returns every quarter. You have to do an audited report every quarter, and from that audited report, then you do a year-end report where you are now to what will be your tax obligation. For individuals, you have to calculate your personal income tax, your own, and sometimes some businesses, small businesses, you might also be the one to calculate your income tax, what you are going to pay to government, and then be able to defend it that this is the income you have made. And then the clarity I'm bringing is that nobody collects tax by the end of the month. Your tax can never be taxed every month. They will remove tax from your account. No, that's not how it's done. Tax is a yearly thing, so you pay it at the end of the year. So your tax is always at the end of the year. You calculate your income and everything, then you are able to pay your taxes. So it's not the situation where they say, oh, every year, especially business, every month they will remove money from my account. No, it is not done like that. Those are part of the things people need to know. And you don't need a tax ID to open a bank account. You can open a bank account, because when you say you need a tax ID, what of the child that is not yet 18? that is does. You want to open a child account, you need a tax ID to open a child account that is not even working. That is 18. Your gift cannot be charged. If say you have a gift, somebody give you a gift, you cannot be taxing somebody's gift. Gifts are exempted from taxes. If you are earning below 1 million naira in a year, 1 million naira in a year, you cannot be taxed. That means you cannot pay those PE or those taxes any longer. You are exempted from tax. If you are a small business, you are doing turnover about 100 million in a year, you cannot be taxed. So we need to know all that. Then why I say there's no clarity is the way the government is going about it, and the government is trying to make sure that everybody must pay taxes, and so that gives room for a lot of people not trusting the policy. You see government pushing, and in this policy you see that government are pushing, but the state governments are just sitting on the fence. Why are the state governments sitting on the fence? Let me tell you why the state government will keep sitting on the fence, is because government, local government, state government generate their internal generated revenue by levies. And so when you hear a tax from smaller business will not be paying so much levies, want to bring them into the tax. That is our because no governors want to do that, because again, we are talking about taxes. They normally strike by levies. It's only levies can easily implement into an informal business. How many informal business have a business account? How many informal business? So it's so at the end of the day, if you get people that are paying taxes and they are paying levies, what will now happen to the other Nigerian? I mean, the cost of goods and services will go up. So I need to make those clarity.
All right, I'd like to go back to this personal income tax in relation to tax ID. When we talk about personal income tax, is this something just maybe salary earners are supposed to pay, or individual businesses, whether small or big? How do we differentiate the taxes that are supposed to be paid by those who are earning salary and those who own their business? Because the committee has been talking about taxable persons. It becomes a bit confusing when they say taxable persons, and they said people who are doing businesses, who are earning money from businesses and trade. So I don't know whether people who are earning salary fall into this. So this is the clarification I want us to make. The taxes being paid by salary earners, is that what we call personal income tax, or is personal income tax a generic name for both business persons and even people who are earning salaries?
If you are earning salary, your tax is deducted immediately from source. Every month when you collect your salary, I think that
right.
So you are not. So when you say personal, but if you are earning salary and then you still have business that you are running, then you have to pay personal income tax on that business.
Okay.
And if you are a businessman, you are the one. Maybe you have a business name. You pay personal income tax on every income you make on that business. So maybe self-employed, you know how much you make in a year, so you go and you calculate it yourself. It's self-assessment. They call it self-assessment. You can do it yourself. So you just do the calculation, then you pay. So it is different. Personal income tax, that's why I say personal. Okay. It's mostly tied to people that run their own business. Why the normal taxes as a government employee, you are supposed to pay taxes.
Okay. And so at the end of the day, the part where they said the bank will have to ask people who are opening bank accounts the state of their revenue or where they get their money from. I really need us to clarify that as well, because one would ask, if banks have been mandated to ensure that people who are doing businesses get a tax ID before opening bank accounts, how are banks supposed to determine that?
Well, I think we've had clarity on that. I think that's a no-brainer. They said that you don't need a tax ID or to open a bank account, so you can easily open your bank account. Now, the banks are supposed to make what they call a report, or what we call a declaration. A if you have certain amount of money in your bank account, and that amount of money, so the tax people will now ask you, maybe how did you get that money?
Okay.
Are you doing businesses or this? It's not that the bank will report you. Even in Nigeria, we know that if you go into the banking hall, they said any deposit by an individual of 1 million or 5 million is supposed to be reported to the authority. So what we'll do now, we'll start having that. If you have, I think it's between 5 million or 10 million in your account, the bank will need to notify the tax board about
okay.
it. You might have to come and clear yourself about it. So it's not that you cannot open a bank account, and again, it doesn't mean that every money in your bank account is going to be taxed without you. No, nobody can go into your bank account and tax the money. It's your privacy. They cannot remove, just like nobody can remove money in your bank account. The only time your bank account can even be closed is when there's a legal
order
from the court that say that your bank account should be frozen. So no tax official, no tax law permit them to close your bank account, telling you that you have to pay a particular tax law. So we are hearing that there's some aspects that have been sneaked into that bill that makes it like that they can just come close your bank account, and then and that is what most of the legislators are saying about. They put up a committee, but like I keep saying, the legislative arm of the current government is more or less like an extension of the executive arm. So I don't expect anything good to come in from there.
All right. Good morning to you, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here, and also good to know that we share the same birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. All right. It's quite inciting listening to all that you are saying, because personally, I had an issue regarding how to balance the pay as you earn, tax, and of course the personal income tax. The fact that is it after they deduct that amount from my account, I will still have to go and pay my tax by the end of the year. But you have brought clarity to that. Thank you very much.
Yes,
but my question is, the fact that all of these things will have to wait till the end of the year before you go in and pay your tax, is it not turning everybody into a mathematician, as the case may be? Because if it has to wait from till December, that means you have to be very particular about the money that is entering into your account. For example, contractors, as the case may be, that means you cannot run your business independently without having an accountant to really, write down the amount that came in for the contract you got, and of course the amount that was spent and the amount that is your own. So how should people, be able to balance this whole thing so that they won't go ahead to pay excessively at the end of the year?
Number one, every business, no matter how small it is, supposed to have an accountant.
Okay.
I think there's no better time to have an accountant than now. I must advise every business, and also you have to have a good bookkeeping, so that the tax man don't come and see what is expenditure and they call it as profit, because again, it's from your profit that you're supposed to pay. That's why you call personal income tax. It's after you have deduct salary, you have deduct everything, your accommodation, your running costs, and everything. That's when you will see your gain. And from that gain, then you can pay your tax, your tax on it. Just like companies, if you see companies audited report, you will see that they make about 1.something trillion or trillion one. Then they will remove expenditure, they remove overhead, they remove salary, they remove this, they remove that. Then they have what we call profit before tax, profit after tax. Those are part of where you pay your tax. So I think my advice for every business is that you need to have an accountant, and or possibly you need to have a tax consultant now, so that you don't start being taken advantage of or run against the law. What I need to advise is that there is what we call tax avoidance and tax evasion. Now, tax avoidance is when you look for loophole within the tax law to capitalize on, and that is legally. Just like what happened to the President of America, Donald Trump. When you look at the tax he's paying, it's even smaller than the tax that the very, very poor of America will pay. That is tax avoidance. But when you talk about tax evasion, it's not you not paying tax at all. And so a lot of Nigerians should make sure that they can work towards tax avoidance, but guide against tax evasion. That is why you need a tax consultant. Yes, if you have proper good bookkeeping, you must know how much you make every month, because ordinarily as a business, your business is supposed to be audited every quarterly, every 3 months. You are supposed to have an audit report. But if you are running a small business, you can't be paying for audit report every 3 months, So what you do is you put your profit and your loss, and you make sure you know what you earn in the first quarter each month, then quarterly. Then you look at it. Remember, I've talked about turnover, which has to be about 100 million. So if you are making a turnover of 100 million, no matter what the profit is, if your turnover is just 100 million, then you are not expected to pay any tax. And then if you are a small business, you buy a product, maybe finished product, you pay value added tax. That company will need to give you that receipt of that value added tax, which you have to file in the tax office, and they will have to return that money back to you. So there's a lot of good things in the tax law that favor small businesses, SME and other. But the challenge is there's no clarity, because the government seems to be in the haste to implement it without enlightening Nigerians about it. And that is why today the social media is awash with different explanation of what the tax law is. Content creators have overnight become tax consultants. And this is causing a lot of confusion to especially ordinary Nigerians. Because if you look at that bill critically, the ordinary Nigerians have no cause to fear. Because what that bill has generally done for them is that they may likely not even be paying taxes the way they should have been paid if tax were really implemented before. So it should be a safe net for them. But because of the lack of awareness, and which is deliberate, because sometimes what they do with this in our country to make you not have an awareness of that so that they can exploit you. So that is why we think that the government did not take it. It would have done well to have enlightened a lot of Nigerians that none of your money can be removed in your bank account. This tax is good for you. Now they said something. The government said you will not be paying VAT, value added tax on food products. So many Nigerians will now go to a restaurant and say, look, I can't pay VAT. Government have cancelled it. No, you will pay VAT on that. But what the government is saying, the agricultural product that was bought to make that good a finished product is what you will not pay VAT on. So there's no clarity. And that favors the smaller business rather than individual. But once the smaller business is not paying value added tax, we expect it to now be reflected in the price. So the price naturally should come down, because before now you were paid the 10% or 10% on value, but you are no more paying, so your price should naturally come down by 10%.
Is there a means, Mr. Mohammed, is there a means to check and ensure that VAT is no longer paid on those food products before they become consumables, as it were, cooked meals? Is there a way to check it?
Yes, there should be a way, but like I said, because of no clarity, there seems to be no way. Because the document you are seeing out is always different from the document we are all having around. So for me, that is the major challenge that we're having thus far.
So you foresee implementation problem when it comes to ensuring that certain taxes are not paid by people who are not meant to pay them?
Implementation is going to be a very, very big problem, I can tell you, and it's already a problem, implementation, because like we are finding out, a lot of people are just not going to be know their right. It's just like the law. If you don't know your right, sometimes you suffer. So a lot of people will suffer, and people will take advantage of them. That is why we are thinking that the government did not do the right thing, not to enlighten Nigerians about what the tax law is. It's very good law, especially when you look at smaller businesses. Even if you look at the bigger even companies, they used to pay they used to pay what we call the tax, which is about 25%.
Company income tax.
Company income tax is about 25%, 30%. It has been reduced to 25%. In some cases, it has been brought down to 20%. Now, where we have the challenge again in this law that made it become what everybody really wanted to know was because of what we call the capital gain tax that was also coming into play. 30%. If you are trading, if you are a member in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you make 1 million. You are expected to pay government 30%, which is about 300,000, and you take 700,000. So all these are what people are saying, that there is no clarity. How do I make money and then you still have me to pay capital gain tax of 30%? Then after that, you now look at my 700,000 as an income again, and then you want to tax it again. So those are most of the challenges that a lot of people are having with this law. But I can say that the people that are really, really, really going to have big challenge about this law is mostly the very elite, the very rich.
All right. Thank you so far for your insight. If you've just joined us, we have been speaking with Mr. Muktar Mohammed. He's the CEO of Finance with Muktar and also International Finance and Economic Analyst, giving us clarity as to what to expect when it comes to the tax implementation, which is beginning today. Nigerians, are you ready? He says you can open a bank account. You don't need to fear. But the thing is that the banks are expected to make some sort of returns or relay information to tax authorities as to how much is there, especially if you appear taxable, just so that the authorities can know where to begin. He made a distinction when it comes to personal income tax and the tax that will be paid by salary earners. So if at all you're earning salary, but you still have a side business that is earning you money, you're liable to pay. Now, Mr. Muktar, this side business, does it have a threshold that will predispose you to paying tax?
Yes, as I said, if you do a turnover of over 100 million,
okay,
you are exempted from tax if you do below 100 million. But if you do above 100 million, you have to pay tax. But again, that comes with another caveat, because again you have to make a return to be free from paying those taxes.
Okay.
You have to make a return to the tax office that I made only 100 million.
Yeah.
That exempts me from the tax. So that's why I say a lot of business will need a tax consultant.
Okay. That means even a small supermarket will need an accountant or tax consultant to be able to know whether the person is liable.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to.
All right. Join the conversation if you can, because I can see some calls coming in earlier on. I know, Favor, you want to also come in as well. Good morning. Okay. Go ahead, please.
What is happening in Nigeria is terrible. I bet you, even in animal kingdom, such cannot happen. There will be spontaneous action against it. Whether lion is the king of the jungle, the other animal can maybe every other this thing that they have to fight against what is happening to Nigeria. We are talking about law. Which law are we talking about? Is it the fraud? The most recent? Which one are we talking about? Which law are we talking about? The one that we don't know which. Is this one or the other one? Is this the fake law? Which one are we talking about? And before we're talking about that, which one are we going to implement? Which one do we know that is the authentic one? So how are we discussing something that is shrouded in secrecy? How did any 10 individual will be talking about anybody collecting money from his account without clarity? And at the same time, we are being told know that it is France that is running it with the Nigerian government. Another new colonialism. So, what is happening in my country, Nigeria, I cannot understand. That's why Trump said that we are people of confined forgetting what this way that even in animal.
Hello. Oh, I think we lost him. So sorry, we lost him. But he made a point, Mr. Mohammed. I don't know if you heard him in terms of his concern. Which law are we implementing? Is it the third one or the one that was rightly signed by the president?
We are waiting. We are waiting for the National Assembly to let us know whether the one that we are facing was actually the one that was signed by them, was sent to them for the president to assign. I think I agree with that. Then also the partnership with France. I think also that also call for question because will it be exposing people data to international people data information to a foreign organization. But I think they've come out clearly that they said that it's all about technology on how to see how they can implement this tax law so that it will benefit others. Their partnership is all about improvement in the area of technology. Right.
Okay, let's hear from you. Good morning.
There was a person I call back.
Okay, please go ahead. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please call back. Please call back. There was some sort of a connection problem. Please do call back. He was trying to extend his good wishes to our guest this morning. Oh, okay. Okay, we seem to be having some problems. But let's talk about the state's involvement. Some states are actually, trying to domesticate the tax laws themselves. I'm wondering, what is the place of states now? Which taxes are they supposed to be collecting and the ones they are not supposed to be collecting? Because there was a talk about that, petroleum income tax and all what have you. Where is the place of states? Why are they domesticating this?
Well, in the area of petroleum income tax, that has been suspended. Initially it's supposed to start, the state has been suspended. Or make sure that starts maybe after we have been able to bring down the price of petrol and then we are able to meet our local consumption. We may have that. For states are, like I said, state government, they collect the value added tax. It's going to the federal government and the federal government share it with the state government. Remember, at the point this law was supposed to have a portion whereby the value added tax will depend on will not be shared equally, or depend on the value that you put to those business as a state, which is make that if a business is located, if you have, because the reason for that was because some states do not accept alcoholic drink, and yet they collect value added tax from it, and people felt that that's not right. But again, the government formed up a political bloc and they met with the president that was taken off from that. So we still have that equal sharing formula. For state government, any income, all these taxes that will be generated will come as an income that will be paid into the federation account, and that will be shared by the 3 tiers of government. They also will benefit. But when you talk about personal income tax, it's paid to the government in the state where you work, because they are the one that are giving you the platform. So that is where you pay your personal income tax.
Okay, let's see if we can hear from this person. We're having some technical issues. Can you hear us?
Yes, absolutely. I'm calling from Norway.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, my regards to the phone line.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask this question. They check directly. Is there a way that the alteration that some people are talking about, people click now, the agency who will start with this collection of this tax now, the agency has the absolute right to confiscate people without going to court. Is it right? Having said that, I want to ask again, the law that we're trying to operate on this January, is it the law that was being operated on, or is it a different law? I want to know. Let me start by thank you so much.
All right, thank you. But I think he has answered that earlier on. But in terms of the first concern, Mr. Mohammed, did you get him?
Yeah, I think we're talking about whereby they can close your bank account. Am I right? I'm just
confiscate your is it account or business when you don't pay?
No. That's why no agency of government has that power to do that without having a court judgment. And so that has been clear. I think again the fear of that is as a result of what they said was behind this. Injected into that account, that document was smuggled into it, and they are now coming out to say no, there was nothing like that. But again, the law does not give you the power to just go in and confiscate my property because you are a tax agency or you are a tax agency of government. You are not the law court. It's only the law court that can confiscate people property or people sentence people or fine people. It has to come from the law court. So that I think that is clear. So if even if you have that in the law that says that if you have evicted tax or in one way or the other, your property must be confiscated. You must be given the fair hearing. The confiscation of that property will only come from the court of law. It's just like when you see forfeiture of your property, you realize that a lot of time they will take it to the court will put it in the newspaper, you will ask them to put it in the newspaper. And if somebody comes and says, no, that property belongs to me, and able to prove to the court, we have seen where some of those so-called forfeited properties are returned back to the owner. So that same will apply if that is there. But again, as the law stands now, they do not have any power to just confiscate your property because you are not paying tax. They don't even have a power to close your account. The only people that have the power to close your account is the court, giving the bank to say that no debit, this account should be closed and is due to maybe criminal activities. All
right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed. But before we go, I have a last question for you. You know, we have freelancers in this country. We have people that work remotely and they are being paid salaries. And we talked about pay as you earn. So who is going to be paying the tax this time? Is it the company that they are working for that is outside the country, or the people that are in Nigeria working for companies abroad that will pay the tax?
The people in Nigeria working for companies abroad are the ones who pay the tax, because the company itself pays its own tax. Okay. So they are the people that are working, and I think that is all. That is ongoing. Government is saying that those people will begin to pay their taxes also. So how that is going to happen is going to be a very big challenge for the government.
I think we have to leave it here. I want to appreciate you so much for your insight. We have been able to know what is going to happen from now to henceforth, and of course where Nigerians matter. What they should expect personally, I think we've gotten clarity on that. On that note, we're saying a very big thank you, Mr. Muktar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Muktar, the International Finance and Economic Analyst. Thank you so much once again. Happy New Year and, of course, happy birthday.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Hopefully, we'll still have this conversation as the year rolls back.
Indeed. We'll be glad to do that. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. That was an eye-opener. That was an eye-opener. At least I was able to get clarity as to who pays what and who does not pay what. One of the things he said is, if you're a business, you have to start doing your calculations now so that when they come, you will know what to say to them and whether you are liable or not liable. If you don't have the books, if you don't have the records, well, when they see that money moving in your account and you're not able to substantiate that it is not a profit in the real sense, then you go in for it. You pay it as tax, basically.
Well, for people that studied accounting, now it's time for them to increase their worth. So now it's time for them to increase their worth. At least now you know that what you studied in school, there is now opportunity for you to put it to work.
Go to Emeka's shop and ask him, do you need an accountant before the tax collectors come? Okay, thank you, everybody. We appreciate you. Right from 2025, we're starting a new season, this 2026. We appreciate you. Apologies, I know Udoji, we were trying to come in, but network was really messed up and it distorted the conversation. But we hope you were able to get the meat of the matter. The conversation on Nigeria continues tomorrow. Today, my name is Njideka. Happy New Year. See you again.
And I am Favor Gilbert. Thank you for listening.